All right, how's it going? Happy Sunday, everyone. So today we are going to start a new project. The composed dog fooding episodes that I've been doing, we've since I've started doing this, we've been working on this like movie app design. And there's definitely more that we could do on that design. It's certainly not done. It's not even close to being polished, and definitely a lot more work to do to make it kind of real. But I don't know. I feel like it was kind of reaching a saturation point where the content maybe wasn't as interesting as it could be otherwise. And so I think maybe it was time to just start a new project. And I was thinking that I would do this one. This is one of the dribble designs that I originally kind of linked to. And again, if anyone wants to send me ideas on like what to do for these projects, I'm all ears. But this is like it's a nice and, pretty design. It's a little, well, there might be a lot of animations in it, but this particular design doesn't have those like in this, dribble shot is what they call it, I think. I don't know. But anyway, so there's not like a ton of specced out animation here, but it does kind of represent like, I guess, what I think of. Hi, Manuel. What I think of is like a more typical app, which is sort of my bias, I guess, but where there's a bit more kind of text content and form fields and things like that. Hey, SkyColor. And so I think this is like a good design to work on, and I think it's really pretty. It's kind of got this like flat minimal look going to it, and it's not material in design, so it'll kind of require us to bake some of our own components here. And then this like timeline type effect that's going on the left screen here, that's pretty neat. There's, so definitely this type of like timeline design has been done in a lot of different scenarios. And I've actually built a timeline sort of thing before, kind of like that. But I actually have an idea for how to do this in Compose that is a little bit different than maybe what I've done before, and I think will actually work pretty well. Yeah, so I think this is where we'll start. And I guess one question is like, which page should we start on? I might just start on this middle page. It seems like probably the easiest, and like we could get started. One thing so this middle page, it looks like it has this kind of transparent blurred effect with the page that's under it, which looks like this page. And right now, I don't think that we can do that in Compose very easily. The blur effect, we can definitely do some transparency. But I'm not sure. Maybe on newer APIs we could maybe do that. We'll have to look at what's available to us there. Yeah, and this page has, so this is like some sort of a tabbed layout here, which is nice in terms of the design, but it makes it harder because I don't know what should be on these other pages. Like that's not part of this design here. And so that's just kind of this like blank space for me. Hey Aisa, thanks for saying looking forward to the project. Krill asks, what headphones do you have? I don't know. These are just like some really cheap, looks like the brand is Cephia, but these are like just really cheap wired headphones. I think I got them on Amazon for like $10. Just, you know, I really like the wired earbuds. You know, a lot of people do the over the ear headphones, and I'm just like, I don't know, I can't deal with those. So I use these just because there's kind of some convenient. I basically have like a little switch between wired headphones and desktop speakers, and so it's like really easy for me to switch between them. But I only really wear these for streaming nowadays. But they're nice. I mean, nice cheap headphones. So, okay, let's try and get some of this done. Maybe we'll do well, I don't know. Gosh, there's like little pieces of each one of these screens that I want. Okay. Let's do just left to right, I guess. Hey Sergey. So we're building this project management app. We haven't really started yet, but that's the goal. So yeah, I'll build the left screen first. And then like we can go into the sort of strategy for the timeline, which I think will be pretty interesting. Mohammed says, will there be new APIs to make the movie app easier? Maybe parts of it. I don't know. I mean, like there were definitely a few takeaways from that app that I've sort of kind of delegated to some other people. Not sure if a ton of change will come from it or not, but definitely like a few small little things. Okay. So this is just the empty Compose app template, and I've got, oh, pixel's not, let me see. Okay. So this is what's coming in the template. And we'll go ahead and start trying to make something from that. Again, I'm just gonna open up a new file whenever I can here. So what do we want to call this page? It's like so I guess this is a project timeline with like a list of tasks. So maybe just like the timeline screen or something like that. Hi, Nicholas. Let's call it timeline screen. Yes. Let me. SkyColor wants to know if I can push the movie app stuff. Actually, I just I just finished a few things here, so if go over here. Project management app. So what I've done, because this the Git repo that this was in is called Compose Dogfooding, and so I moved the movie app into a subfolder, and then I added a subfolder for the project management app. And yeah, I already removed the API key. Thank you though for saying that. And so I'll push this. Yeah. Okay, so hold on one second. Okay. All right, so that should be pushed now. So if anyone wants to see the kind of last changes that we did on the movie app, that will be on GitHub, and then I'll start putting this project management app up there as well. And then Alex Lockwood says, have you had many people contributing sales externally to Compose? Not a ton. Like I think there's probably been maybe like 4 or 5 like pretty decent external contributions, but you know, there's also like there's some people that are working on pretty significant things that that haven't really materialized into you know, merged contributions yet, but like Andrei Shikov, you know, who hangs out in the stream often, he's working on getting the Compose compiler to work for the Kotlin JS backend, which would be really cool. And there's some challenging things related to that. Oh, and then also, I mean, so as part of that effort, he had made a pretty significant kind of improvement to some things that we were doing in the back end. So good. Rick Komoto says, you finally convinced me to learn Kotlin and Compose after watching the streams for a while. Love how creating UIs is much easier than what I'm used to in XML. It's clearly more versatile, hence 100 reasons to look forward to Compose being at the forefront of Android. Yeah, cool. I'm really glad that you know, I helped convince you with that. Definitely, I think the types of things that we're doing that I'm doing on this stream aren't like my goal is not to show people how easy it is to use Compose for this stream. Like I think that, you know, I could try and show that in different ways. But my goal here really is to actually try and do difficult things. And, you know, hopefully those are things that are possible in Compose. And not only that, is that the same potentially very difficult thing in like XML or something would be more difficult or even impossible. But the goal of this channel is not necessarily to, or at least this like type of series is not explicitly to like show the like, look at this just like beautiful one-liner type thing. And so I'm definitely like, I want to stress the fundamental APIs of Compose to make sure that they're the right building blocks so that we can kind of do whatever we want. Like we can build anything with Compose because the right kind of smaller bits are exposed properly. and that's not always the case. And hopefully in this channel, we'll find places where that's not the case so that we can use that as feedback to actually change and improve on the APIs. So let's just like timeline screen. Okay. Now I'm going to render the timeline screen here. And we'll just kind of be off to the races after that point. SkyColor says, FYI, modifier.match parent size is unrecognized on box. Probably has to do when stack was renamed the box and old box was deprecated. Match parent size. Interesting. Oh, and I might not even have that. Let me see, where is that? Match parent size. I wonder, you know, I've had like really bad luck with the with like the search feature in these docs. I'm not sure if like there's, I don't know, maybe Compose is like not getting put into the searchable bucket or something. I'm not sure why that is. Yep. Wonder where it is. Okay, it's on box scope. That makes sense. So Alex says, my biggest annoyance with Compose so far is that the JetBrains doesn't auto import extension functions that exist outside of your current package. Yeah, is that so? When you say auto import, you mean like without doing alt enter? It's like I guess IntelliJ will automatically add some imports if it's from your current package. Is that what you're saying? That is a good point. I've been having some issues downloading Compose sources, Alpha 5 on my Android Studio. Yeah, Mayo Java, this is sort of a known issue. It's not really Compose specific, but it's specific to Android Studio 4.2 Canary 13. And basically there's something that happened that messed up the auto importing of sources for Gmaven artifacts in that Canary, and I believe it'll be fixed in the next Canary. At least I'm pretty confident about that. But yeah, that was a very unfortunate bug. So you're not the only one experiencing that. So SkyColor is unrecognized on box. So when you say that it's not recognized on box anymore, do you mean that it won't, like box scope isn't being used, or do you mean that like the modifier doesn't do anything whereas it used to before? It doesn't know what it is. Okay. If you don't mind, if you could file a bug for that, that would be great. You know, if not, I'll file one later, but just let me know if you do file a bug for it. I mean, that sounds like unintended, and yeah, it sounds like it's maybe from the the refactor to box scope, or to box that we made. Okay. So let's see, we should see timeline screen. And I'm just gonna put like a few things down here that'll, like, you know, again, to start off, like, I'm not gonna pull anything in from like real data sources or anything like that, so we'll just kind of mock the data here. And let's just say, so what is this? This is a project. And let's just say it as a title. And I will say project equals. And so, you know, I'm using this as like just a top level variable right now, but later on, if we, you know, made it like this or something, then that would make that refactor very easy to do. So I'm just gonna do that for now. Or actually, let's just do this, mock project. Project. All right. So we'll do that, and then for the title, I'm just gonna do exactly what's in the mock here. Create additional pages. Mohammed says you could call match parent size on the box scope inside the box lambda. Yeah, I mean, if the match parent size, if it's on box scope, then that should only be, that's like for the children of box. So basically, you should have a match parent size available inside of a box, but not necessarily for the box itself. Does column scope have the same thing? It doesn't. So yeah, I mean, I guess like the idea is that this was only meant for box, but it's meant for the children of box, not the box itself. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's sort of working as intended. Depends on your use case, I guess. All right, let's see. I'm just gonna add just like a string-based date. It's kind of weird. I mean, this mock says like 03 days, which I don't know. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. I don't know why it says 03, but show in days. I guess I'm not sure I understand this like UI entirely. Does anyone understand what is meant by like this data column here? like 24.19 and 23.19. Like what do those numbers mean? I mean, it says so, but like what date is that? Like that's like a weird, like, you know, so for the 19 could stand for like 2019, but like why 23 and 24? I mean, it's weird if those are days and not months. Yeah, a Jira ticket maybe? I don't know. I mean, and it's weird. I mean, it says data, not date. And so you think it's the time. So what, Mohammed, what like time would it be? What do you mean? Like it does say, so show in days. And like these are grouped. And like this one is grouped. But maybe they're grouped by like this is design, this is front end, back end. I don't know. I guess like I'm not really sure I understand the like the meaning of all of this data. So that's a little weird. So I don't know. Let's just say, you know, days. This will be an int, and then status, project status. Let's like create an enum for that. Which will be in progress and completed. Maybe, you know, unstarted. What's a better word for unstarted? I'm like not good at English here. Okay, Abdulila asks, have you tried to use navigation components with Compose? I always end up having a main Compose function inside each fragment that does all the nav controller stuff. So all my child functions have a callback that are called whenever it's required, like a button click. Not sure if it's the best way of doing it. So Abdullah, like, so to answer your question, I have, and one of the, like, so one of the things that I did was I created I created like a composable function navigation arg. And like I did something like this. And this sort of allowed me to use the, like it made the kind of navigation component boilerplate a little bit less. You can also see how the you can see some of the API that's being created for the like the navigation, like the Compose navigation extension that's being built for the navigation architecture component. It does some similar things. it may be more involved than what you're looking for. Like I think what you're doing is reasonable, but if you're creating like some common boilerplate in that top level function or something, one thing you can do is just create like a compose fragment or something like that, that kind of does a lot of that. And then in, when you're defining your nav graph or something, like you can maybe just do the bare minimum there, and then you don't have to do anything in your fragment, and you just define a graph that calls some composable, and you kind of go from there. Okay, so it's got a project status. I feel like there's some other word though that like I'm just missing here. Hold on one second. I'm opening up our issue tracker inside Google. Uh-oh. Okay. So I guess we have assigned as like one of the statuses, and like new. Whatever. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with new. And let's just say this has a user class. Just kind of a weird name for these people, but let's give them a name. And probably have some sort of like a photo URL or something, but I'm gonna give them an ID. Let's just pretend all these things have IDs just for the sake of it. So this one. And days is 3. Status will be in progress. And so this is going to have like some number of users. We'll just say users, I guess. Users. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mock user name, or ID will be 2, name will be Zachary Butler. And then it looks like they also, well, we can add more onto that in the future as we move on to like new screens. They'll have that. And then this will be Zachary. And then I don't know who these other 2 users are, like in terms of their name, but they both seem to be female, so I'll come up with some female names here. 3 name equals Mary Brown, and Sarah E equals 4, name equals Sarah Murphy. Okay, so these users, let's just say it's Mary, Sarah, and Zachary. And I mean, you know, I don't necessarily need to make this mock data, but it's just sort of an easier way to get started, I think, and then potentially transition later on to real data. I think it makes it easier. Okay, so that is that, and then in this case, I'm letting you see the Android Studio stuff. I feel like isn't that interesting, so I think looking at the mockup feels more correct. So I think now, like, a project has a list of tasks, I guess, right, in this timeline. Hi, AFSA. So we'll create a task class, and the let's see. So I guess they use the word done for this. So I'm gonna rename the completed to done. And let's say that a task has an ID. It looks like it has a title. And I guess this like tag, which is like design or front end, back end, etc. So I'll just make that a string, and what are these? Interesting. So these tasks have this like number 163 and number 158 and stuff like that. I mean, you could say that that's like the ID or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll go with that. And then they have like some number of users assigned to it. So let's call that assignees, which will be a list of users. And it's got like a, you know, a comment count and an attachment count. And then the attachment is like, it potentially has this little orange dot above it. You know, which I guess indicates that there's like new things there. I'm not going to add that to the data model just yet. So then this project is going to have a list of tasks. So we'll add that tasks. Why not? Tasks stuff. So Could you please share the background playlist? It is so soothing and helps in coding atmosphere. Yeah, so unfortunately, like the playlist isn't easily shareable. Like Pretzel Rocks just doesn't have a great sharing sort of feature, but one thing you can do is if I see that you're on YouTube, if you go to my Twitch channel, there is like a Pretzel Rocks widget on like the right hand side of the screen as it's playing, and you can see then like the song that's currently playing and previously played songs and stuff like that. And maybe, I mean, since so many people have asked, I might just hand type up like what the songs are in the playlist. But if you are looking for the, I mean, so the source of the music is Pretzel Rocks, and they've got a bunch of stuff on there. And then on the bottom left of the screen, if you haven't seen that yet, there's a kind of like a now playing thing. And so if you do like one of the songs, you can probably look it up with that. So SkyColor says each task tag has its own color. I'm not sure that it does versus it looks like the color is maybe linked to the status, like done versus in progress. So I'm not sure if that's task specific or not. All right. So let's just start writing down these tasks, I guess. This did not work. Okay. So ID, I'm gonna use the ticket number as the ID. Why not? I mean, in reality, you probably wouldn't, but you know, it's mock data anyway. So, all right, contact page. And tag here is design. I'm gonna include the hashtag in that just for the moment. And then assignees will be Zachary. And comment count 3, attachment count 5. So I guess we can just do the first 4, which I still don't understand I don't understand the way this like number on the left-hand side works. 24.19 versus 23.19. Really don't know. So this is going to have Sarah and Mary. It'll be 8, 2, still design. This will be the calculator page. Technical task. I see. So for technical task, one of the statuses is like review, which I guess means it's like under review. So I'm gonna add that to the status enum. SkyColor says if you can make 6 or so tasks so we can have a lazy column example that's scrollable. Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Trying to think, I'm actually, the idea I had to render the timeline wouldn't work very well with lazy column, which is kind of an interesting aspect, because one, it means that like, well, it would demonstrate a need for some sort of like a layout manager, like layout policy like API for lazy column, which I think, you know, is arguably something that we need. But it also might be an indication that like I should try and do it a different way. So I'll think about that some more. Okay, so technical task. I guess. Wait. Oh, we didn't do a status. So the task has a status. Status. Status dot in progress. This is done. And then this is under review. Front end. 5, 7, 4, and 8. And then I don't know what to call this, but I'm just gonna give it like a you know, time code, and this will just be the thing on the left hand side. And I'll go ahead and I guess like what I'll say is that it's grouped by these. So this is 24.19 and this one is 23. And I'm gonna give one more, which will be backend. And this didn't have, you know, any of these things. So let's just say this is 159, status.done. We'll say, you know, Mary did this one. And, you know, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I think what I'll do, I'm just gonna copy these. So there's 4 of them right now, and we'll just make it 8. And we'll just go ahead and do, this will be 22. And this will be 21. I think this was wrong. So we wanted, so these will be grouped together. Okay. So now we've got eight tasks. And that should get us started. So Arcane Water asks, any major companies out there with Compose published app yet? I don't know. My guess is probably not like a, you know, a fully built Compose app from like a large reputable company. It's just not at that stage yet. What exactly are you working on with which stack? So I'm working on building this design. This design here, it's like a project management app. The design, which I guess I should point out, you know, so I had nothing to do with this design. I found this on Dribbble, It was done by this person here, Leonid Restov. So, you know, if you like this work, you should maybe go, you know, find him and, you know, like his stuff or something like that. I'll post a link to it in the chat in case anyone wants to go check out this design. So that's what we're building, and the stack that we're using is Android's new declarative toolkit called Jetpack Compose, which is a toolkit that I work on at Google. And so yeah, we're just kind of playing around. Okay. So let's try and get some of this stuff, just up there. We've got, so this project is coming in via the mock here. So let's just do project.title. And then I kind of want to look at the typography here. What do we have? So this typography is being passed in. I don't know what type this design is using. This is why having like a real design from a designer that you know, has all of the specifications in it is always way easier. Is Jetpack Compose a little bit like Swift UI? It looks similar. Yes, it's they're similar toolkits. They both follow a declarative component-based pattern. If you're familiar with React.js or Flutter, also very similar toolkits. So I think I'm gonna customize some of those things later, but let's just say, oops, I don't want that. Let's close these things. So I'll pass in style, typography dot, we'll call this an H1. The default H1 is probably gonna be a bit big, but we'll see. Play around with it. And let's put this in a column. And let's see here, we'll have a row where I will say project.days typography wonder semantically what's the right, like, I don't know if I really like the typographies that are defined for material. Like I feel like I want well, I don't know, I'm just used to what we had at Airbnb, I guess. Sorry, I'm missing some chats here. Okay, so Mohammed says Toggle uses Compose in production since developer and some screens, and it's open source. Yeah, I did see the Toggle app. I'm not sure how many like users or downloads or anything they have, or how many screens they have. Maybe it's just a few. I don't remember. And Redsy says this version shows date instead of data. Really? Oh wow, this is like a video of this design. That's nice. Maybe we should be looking at this as well. Oh, fancy. Sorry, let me show you what I'm looking at now. So Reti sent me this, which is the same designer, and it's really the same concept, but it's a different shot on Dribbble. So I like this like integrated calendar thing here on the timeline. That's pretty nifty. And the widget to show the assignees and stuff. This is some cool stuff. Okay, so this is I see what you're saying. So, but this is a little bit different. Like, I mean, this seems like a time-based timeline. Well, like they're probably all timeline based, but like this is a distinctly different screen. This is showing all of your tasks, and you can choose like some date range filtering here. Whereas what we have is actually like a specific project which has some tasks associated with it. And so then it's unclear. I mean, I think you're probably right. I think this probably is meant to be a day, but it's just some weird formatting for the day. And then like this is maybe like the grouping is like the stuff that happened that day. Not sure. So OG asks, is Kotlin like the default language for Android now? Yeah, so Android is like, and Kotlin and Java are both first class supported languages for Android. Android is now like Kotlin first, which means that we're now building APIs with Kotlin in mind, kind of like first and foremost. But I mean, there's still a lot of stuff done in Java. Like all of the Android platform is still built in Java. Most Android apps are still built with Java, and a lot of the libraries that we build at Google are still built with Java. But there's definitely a lot of new Kotlin stuff coming, and Compose is one of those things. Because this reload was kind of annoying last time I tried it. Live previews already in current canary for Compose. Yeah, so I'm not sure what you're asking, Arcane Water, but let me know. Okay, so back to some of this coding here. Try this. So this is days and date. It's like questionable whether or not we would want to have a single text node with just both the date and the days and stuff like that, or multiple in a row. Probably depends if we want to have like specific behavior with one, like I don't know, or I guess how accessibility sees it. I'd probably see it differently. So those are things to consider. I'm just gonna separate them. Project.date, and we'll do this. Actually, I'm just going to do that. And I'll also add a modifier. Modifier.padding, horizontal, you know, 4.dp, we'll say. Yeah, Alex, now I don't know if Alex Lockwood's still on the chat, but now that you like mentioned that difference between, like, I kind of forgot that Android Studio automatically imported stuff for the same package. I wonder if we can tweak the rules a bit. Seems like it would be a much better experience. So, okay, so now we've got this this like row of avatars over here, which is nice looking. I think let's like build that into a little widget of sorts, where we can say avatar list. Shinigami says, I tried using Tableau on a recent personal project. I customized the color of the indicator to green, like in these designs you have, but that also left the background of the tabs with a green tinge. I'm not sure what you mean exactly. I'd have to see a screenshot maybe, and maybe look into how the tab row indicator is made. I know that we've got, the tab row has like an ability, you can pass in, if you want to, like an arbitrary composable, I think, to create the tab indicator. But you can look at the default one and see how it's doing what it's doing, and maybe you'll kind of find out more about why that's happening. So, okay, order modifiers is important. Maybe that's why you still have green. It could be modifier related. I'd have to see the code and like what exactly is happening. I apologize. I'm very tired today. My coffee machine broke, which is like devastating news. I mean, it's like actually like a pretty nice espresso machine, and this morning I tried to make my coffee and the indicator lights were like all like just flashing red, and I looked at the instruction manual, but it's basically like, if this happens, call this support number. There's like no troubleshooting help whatsoever. So I'm operating on less than 100% today. Okay, so let's say avatars, or I mean, since we're kind of doing this pretty bespoke for this app, let's just hand it a list of users, and let's just start there, and we can like, because we might want to also add this like plus button that it's got, since that's not an avatar, that's like a separate button, so we'll maybe take a look at that. But for now, let's just render this avatar list, and then I'm gonna have just a single avatar for a user, and Let's use coil image for this. And I think I'm gonna get a what do I want? I want like just a, well, let's just use a box for the moment. And then I'll change it to an image because I'm probably gonna just generate some like placeholder images or something from some third-party service. But like I'm not gonna do these like fancy like vector-based looking avatars here. I'm just gonna assume that they'll be like pictures of real people. So let's say let's give this a modifier. Fire, and then this will use it. And then what do we want? So we want to, it's got this like white border around it. Did I try turning it off and on again? I did try that. That was the first thing I tried. It's actually that was the only bit of troubleshooting that the manual did give us, was to try that. So Afzal says you should be able to use sample data with Compose, right? I guess so. I don't see why not, but I'm like not very familiar with the sample data APIs, and I don't have a problem just writing this up here. So I don't know, but if you like really want me to give that a shot, then I will. So let's see, what do we want here? We want to give, let's just give it a solid background for now. Color. Yeah. I'm just gonna grab one of the colors here from one of these. Okay. Let's see. What do I want? 0, 0? No, FF. Try that. And so box is, normally a rectangle, and I'm gonna give it a different shape, a circle shape, since this avatar is rounded. And alpha is going to be 1, so that's fine. And then I'm going to add some padding around it, which will say 2dp of padding. And then I'm going to give it another background color white, and also the circle shape. And then this just needs like a, some sort of a width here. So, what do I want? We probably want to size like the image itself. So here, then I will do size. And again, I don't have specific measurements here, which make this difficult, but we'll just try that. So for user and users, avatar user. So let's try this, and then up here we will say avatar list project.users. And let's just go ahead and see what all of this looks like. So give it a run. SkyColor asks, you have a 3 or 4 screen setup? I actually have just one monitor. If you're asking about like my actual desk setup, it's just one screen. Well, okay, that's not quite true. I actually have a little screen, which is kind of funny. There's this little screen that I actually put the chat window on, which is like so the chat that I'm like reading with you right now, and that's actually set up with a little teleprompter so that I can look right into the camera. So right now it looks like I'm looking right into the lens of the camera, but I'm actually just reading the chat. So anyway, kind of goofy, but it's a thing. Okay, so as I thought, the text is like just enormous because H1 is huge by default, I guess. So let's change that a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna take all these fonts and just tweak them a little bit here. Sure. Yeah, all right. So get rid of this. Ooh, did not like that. All right, let me. Subtitle 1. Yeah, there should be a quick action to, like, for a given call, replace all of the parameters of that call with the default expression that's used by the function. That would be kind of nice, right? Oh, I just kind of messed that up because I didn't want text style to be there. Someone's gonna tell me this like way faster way to do this. Something. All right. Get rid of all that. And probably a pretty decent waste of time, but let's start tweaking the H1 style. 96 just seems too big to me. Let's go 64 and see how that is. Command G. What does Command G do? Go to line, Command Shift G. I don't know, I'm not sure what you, Command Shift G doesn't really do much for me. So might be missing something. Oh, it selects the next occurrence. Interesting. So like if I do this, Command Shift G. Oh, so maybe I'm mixing up Command and Control. Okay, that's cool. Aha. Learn something new every day. Thank you. Was it someone asked something when Mohammed asks when to use then on the modifier. So whenever you like use this like dot padding style, like that uses then under the hood. Like so that's sort of part of the purpose behind this the fact that it's like an extension function. So dot padding is adding something to the previous one. So if you had two modifiers, so M1, modifier.padding, and M2, which is modifier.size 10.dp or whatever. So if you had these, then you could create another modifier, which is M1.then M2, right? And that used to be, do we still have that? Yeah, so that's also what you get with the plus operator, which I guess is deprecated. I don't know. I like the plus, but no one else does. So yeah, M1.then M2. It's basically then is just a way to like concatenate two modifiers together, and then it's also an infix, so you can say M1 then M2, stuff like that. SkyColor asks, is there a guideline to know when something is on the modifier and when it is intrinsic on the element itself? It's a good question. I mean, like I don't know. Like there's all of this gray area because something like it's sort of like what should be intrinsic versus what shouldn't be. Like I can, in this avatar composable, like if I want, I can have color be like one of the properties, and then maybe I use it here, right? And so now all of a sudden this like modifier parameter sort of thing, like this concept of the background color of this thing, like kind of got promoted to this top level parameter for this composable. And so I would do that if I felt like the avatar itself like ought to be configurable with like color, and if like the color itself was like some intrinsic part of the avatar. But if it was like some extra thing, like, so we give people this modifier to apply like kind of necessary style around the element, but it's not like an intrinsic part of that element. And that's why the modifier goes up here, because it's all the modifiers up there will be applied like sort of above it in the tree, so to speak. And so all of those things aren't necessarily intrinsic to the avatar itself. So like it's not like it's just not a thing. And we've got a lot of capabilities that like are built into modifiers by default, but like kind of all the way down, the UI system is really like it's like one of two things. It's a layout node or it's a modifier, and like the modifiers appeal to a lot of other pieces of the system. So I'm not sure if that like gives you a good answer, but like it's in general like modifiers can do a lot of different things, and the layout nodes provide you structure. And so we didn't want to make padding a composable, because if it like wrapped other composables, then all of a sudden it needs to know what its layout policy is, and it needs to know like is it just stacking elements inside it on top of each other, or are they in a column or a row or like whatever. And those decisions shouldn't need to be made by a padding like specification. And so modifier is a way of ensuring that, like, it doesn't need to decide how to lay out. All it does is add some spacing around the size. So I just said a lot. I'm not sure that that was a very helpful explanation, but let me know. Let's see, where are we right now? We were messing with the typography. So 64 still isn't enough. I think that this should be bold and maybe 48. This is why I really love having a spec where the designer can like tell me what size everything was and all that. All right. That's not terribly far off, but it's so like if we go back to our design, it's still a bit big. So I'm gonna go for 36. Letter spacing, and can I do line height? I feel like the line height is too much here. Well, actually, no, maybe not. Then I'm gonna remove that letter spacing because I feel like it's not needed for 36. 1.25. Let's see. All right. That's not bad. Maybe let's give it a letter spacing of 0.25. And we'll call that a day. And now let's go to here. So we kind of want to give this a little bit of shadow. And we have the elevation modifier, I think. No, do we not? Draw shadow. That really should not be. That's still a thing. Okay, I am still using an old build, but okay. Anyway, so I'll make a mental note to make sure that this is renamed because I don't like that. So it's all right. I am curious if I need to specify the shape because of like this thing. That'll be interesting to figure out. But clip. Let's give it like a circle shape. Let's give that a shot. Okay. I see. See, this bothers me a little bit. Because like, so this draw shadow API is it's returning a composed modifier, which then uses the draw layer modifier, which uses shadow elevation. And all of that work is just to get the current density, which is silly because the draw scope has the density. And so I feel like the definition of this modifier like concerns me a little bit. I feel like it's way too complicated for what it's doing, because draw layer just has this. Like draw layer has shadow elevation. Okay. But anyway, I'm just gonna use it because that's like, you know, the right API to use here. And we'll see where that goes. So this now. Okay. What I want to do then in this avatar thing, I want to give it a modifier, and so we basically want to, each of these modifiers is taking, you know, some amount of space. So what I think I want to do is, I mean, so it would be easy enough for me to just like have it shift. But what I actually want is for the layout of this thing to like actually like ignore that size. So I kind of wonder what happens if I say so the underlying avatar is 40 pixels, 40 dp. Now, if I say that each one is actually 30 dp up here, or actually just the width is 30 dp, I wonder what happens. I'm not sure. Sergey asks, is it possible to have in the future an IDE, or the IDE would parse hex color values and draw a little color dot next to it? For instance, color, yeah. Yeah, actually, I think that this, like, it's turned off right now, but I don't know why. That actually, it's actually supposed to work. It worked at some point. But so to answer your question is yes. So it will. Okay, so we got that. That did some weird things. So I'm a little bit confused because my understanding was that we don't clip by default. And so this draw shadow, what is this doing? So clip if the elevation is greater than 0 dp. I wonder why it's doing that. Let's try passing in clip false here. See what that does. Okay, I mean that. Also, what happened to my white? Why isn't the white showing up? So messing with the size up here did have the effect that I wanted. Well, not really. Like, I wonder if I want to make my own draw modifier for this, because so like if I just remove this, you know, this will kind of unsurprisingly take up, you know, 40 plus 20. It'll basically be, you know, 60 DP times the number of avatars. But I want them to stack on top of each other a little bit, but that's only going to happen, or like, I don't want to just offset them because, well, actually, I guess I can't just use the offset. Maybe I should just try that. I thought it would work differently, but so let's just say the X offset is let's just do users for each indexed, index user and times 30. Is this not a thing? Okay, we really should define that other. I feel like I'm hitting a lot of feedback today, so let's make sure that we write some of this down. So I'm just making some notes for Dogfooding feedback. So what did we run into? So just now, you know, int times dp should work. We talked about yeah, so Aranium, that's what I was thinking of doing, was creating not necessarily a custom layout, although it certainly could be. So either doing a custom layout here or a custom draw modifier here. But I was trying to see if some of the built-in modifiers would allow it to behave how I wanted it to without doing that. Okay, so way too big. What was another thing we ran into? Draw shadow. I mean, the implementation of this just feels wrong to me. Should be available to get. Okay. I think that was kind of it. I don't remember anything else. So offset here. Do that. Oh, I see. But this okay. So I don't want that. I want minus 10.dp if index equals 0, else 0. What is that complaining about? Wrap unary operator and value. Really? All right, I'm gonna add that to the list too. On that. I feel like it shouldn't suggest a quick fix here. I like kind of understand why it is, but I don't think there's a need to, and I think that this is more legible, so we should ignore that. All right. So I see what's happening. So it's, So compose doesn't clip by default. Compose doesn't clip by default, but I think that the surface here is, you know, it's like wrapping the size of the content, and that is coming up to the avatar list, and that's clipping the shadow. And so if we add more content below it, then it should look correct. Hey Marcel, thanks. Yeah, so what I don't like about this approach is that if we, so for instance, if like, let me try this. So what I don't like about this approach is that it's shifting the placement of it, but I don't think that the overall size is changing. Yeah. So we actually want it to lay out as if the avatars are only taking up that amount of space, and so it's not. Yeah, sorry. So that's why this offset thing is not what I think we should use. So now the question is do we want to do this as a custom? Should this be a custom modifier or custom layout? That's the question. And I'm going to tweak some of these things here. So let's say this is 4 dp, and that can stay 10. Like I suppose one one question I would have, I guess, is this arguably a bug in the offset modifier? Like I knew that it would work that way, or at least I suspected it would work that way, but maybe it shouldn't work that way. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing, is like the width and height are the same. I think like row isn't smart enough to figure that out. So custom layout is probably the right thing here. I don't know, maybe not though. So let's see if we can do it with a layout modifier here. So like basically we just want this. And so now the width. So I guess we could say the width is minus 10. So what's DP here? No. So let's just use some bigger numbers here for this. So we'll say the width is minus 30. And 0 minus 30. I think that'll work. Without the return. Okay. Let's give this a shot. I think this will work. Okay, so that worked properly. Good. Sorry, here's what it looks like. So as you can see here, that with this approach, the size of the avatar list is the actual size of like what we see on screen, and so it's not the width of it isn't the sum of the widths of the avatars here. All we need to change now is that the first avatar shouldn't work this way. So I mean this makes me happier about the modifier.layout API. It does make me wonder a little bit if I was thinking about the ramifications of changing the offset API. Maybe it should be changed, maybe it shouldn't. So let's just make like a private val avatar offset modifier. And we'll just do that. And then here I'll say if index equals 0, modifier else that. Seems reasonable. The unit of -30 is pixels, I think. Pixels. Yeah, the width in pixels. So what we could do, let's just say am I gonna hate myself for saying this, but maybe this should be modifier dot margin. Ooh. CP equals this dot then layout. Let's use DP here, and let's say x dot to in pixels. To in pixels. Yeah, margin's probably not the right word here, but like let's just say offset. Well, I'm struggling to figure out what the right word is to describe this, but you know, it's a layout offset. I don't even know. So we'll do this here. I'll say plus and plus. And Y. All right, so that's now like a, you know, kind of more properly defined modifier here. And then I'm just gonna say, let's just say modifier.layout offset 10.dp. And just because it makes it a little bit simpler to read, I'm just going to put it in here, 0.dp else, and that dp, and then we'll add some defaults for this. Like that. Okay, so that is that, and then I'm going to write down a note to just think a little bit more about whether or not this layout behavior is like actually more expected for offset or not. I'm not sure that it is. Should just behave this way. Okay. I don't want to call it left shift because it's, I mean, I could call it shift or something, but it's, I've now defined it for both X and Y. So, okay. Let's go ahead. Oh, whoops, I need a minus here. So Mohammed says if you put dot offset if greater than 0, minus 30, else is, So Mohammed, that's what we had before, but the reason I don't like that is that if we had a bunch of avatars stacked on top of each other, then like that list of avatars is gonna be as like in as far as the layout system is concerned, it's actually gonna be much wider than what is drawn on screen, and I don't want that. I want the like size of the avatar list to be the size of like what, you know, kind of what is drawn. So like taking into account the overlaps, which is, you know, we just ended up creating this modifier to behave that way. And this is almost character for character what offset is, the normal modifier.offset. The only difference is I'm changing how it's what size it reports. So yeah, that's that. Will a range property on row mess up that offset or no correlation? It could, yeah. Well, it depends what you want. I mean, so right now it's wrapping, so it doesn't matter. But if it was like full width, and then you said like go to the, you know, arrange to be at the end, it would still actually look correct, because all we're doing is just changing the placement of these to place themselves 10 pixels to the left, and we're having the width that it reports be 10 pixels less, and that's basically all we're doing. Okay, so that's kind of our little avatar list, which I think 4DP here is probably too much. And yeah, the shadow is probably fine. So we'll kind of leave it at that, and then when we pass in a user's photo, let's just go ahead and do that. So placeholder avatar photo. I feel like every time I do a project like this, I like Google some service to do these like just like easily obtainable avatar images, and I feel like every time I forget which one I end up choosing. Okay, this is probably, I'll use this Pravatar thing. Yeah, it seems good. So inside of avatar, I'm going to change this to be a coil image, and I'm gonna do that, and I'll add like a image URL string, and so I'm going to use this Pravatar thing, and I'll have the ID of the user just be the image so that it's deterministic, and why don't we just go ahead and say for size, because we're going to need a different size later. Size size pixels. Okay, try that. And then here, so we're using 40 dp. Oh, hey, Enzo. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. I'm probably gonna end up wrapping up in like half an hour or something, or maybe a little bit less. Let's get some avatar images set up then. So we've got this Pravatar service, which seems reasonable. Hold on one second. We need to turn on the internet connection here. So fast. And then here, let's see, I guess I can just do .dp.2 pixels. Sure. So that might work. Let's see. That'll give us user image based on the ID. Let me just make sure I gave different IDs for these. Yeah, okay. 2, 3, 4. And then this background color we don't want anymore. But we do need to clip to a circle still. So we'll use the clip modifier. And I think that that'll work. Uranium asks, do you publish this app on GitHub? Yeah, so there's a composed dogfooding repo that I've been pushing to, and the movie app is up there, and now the project management app will be as well. And here I'll give a link to that. So let's see. So this did not work out very well. Why? Confused. Is it partially because of this background? Oh, now it showed up. Okay, maybe it's just really slow. Did I change anything? I didn't even see. Oh, well, okay, let me add the background back in because I didn't think that should change it. Like maybe this service is just pretty slow. Yeah, okay, they're showing up now. So there's your little avatar bubbles. Pretty simple so far. Okay. So you know, we didn't get super far, but we'll be doing a lot more in following episodes. I feel like a lot of what we did was just kind of prep work type stuff. But you know, that's how it goes. So can't get everything done immediately. But so I think at this point I'm gonna end the stream because I have a few things that I need to do today, and I got started late, and so kind of running out of time here. But we'll be doing more on this app tomorrow at I think 1 p.m. Pacific time. Do another few hours on this app, and hopefully we'll get a bit further in this. But thanks everyone for tuning in, and I hope this was interesting. And I'll push what I have so far to GitHub right now, but you know, there's not a ton, but that link should work. All right, thanks everyone. See ya.